Hello and welcome back to The Bottom Line, where we'll break down some of the main business and economic stories of the day. Now, today we are diving into the future of finance, where AI, blockchain and the metaverse intersect. And joining us is Ronit Ghose, Managing Director and Global Head of Future of Finance at Citi Research, and the author of Future of Money, Fintech, AI and Web3. Now, Ronit is a leading expert in the evolution of money and the technological innovations shaping global finance. So he'll be sharing his insights into how these advancements will redefine the way we bank, invest, and even live in the near future. Ronit, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I believe that we have to start with a big question. So how is the future of global finance shaping to your mind? Are we living the change?
Sure. Finance and money reflects society and technology. Society and technology has some mega trends today that finance reflects. Number one, east, west to east. We're going to the east. Part of the reason I've chosen to be based in Dubai, I spent most of my career in London, is I think the center of gravity economically is moving to the east. Number two, tangibles to intangibles. By intangibles, we mean things we can't touch and feel, like this. This is a media product. We consume so much information, and that information is often cross-border. In the old days, trade used to be physical. You make a car, you ship the car on a boat. Now it's information. So those are the big mega trends, going west to east and going tangible to intangible. In finance, like in many industries, AI is going to play a big role as this evolves in the next few years.
And now I really wonder about AI, because like you mentioned, it is indeed at the forefront of many industries. But is it also really at the forefront of finance?
It's in the forefront of all industries. Banks such as ours and others have been using AI for many years. It was called pre-Gen AI. Some people call it boring AI. What's new and exciting in everyone's imagination is Gen AI. Gen AI is AI that we can talk to like a human. Gen AI is AI that can create words and text. And Gen AI is exciting because it looks like a machine has become a human. What is it to be human? It's the ability to create, the ability to think. Gen AI on the surface seems to do it. But AI and machine learning, banks have done for years. And I'm sure Polish banks we for sure have been using AI in hundreds of different applications around the world for years.
Oh, indeed, we do have some examples of, for instance, PKO BP using AI at its forefront, especially now to establish better clients' needs. But I wonder, how do you see it now expand in the future?
Sure. So banks will be using Gen AI inside their software, coding, technology divisions. That's happening today. Other companies, including banks, consulting firms, are using it for search and summarization, finding information, using the information. For me, the really big change on AI is how it changes our lives as consumers, as users of finance. So not me as a bank, but actually you and I as clients of banks. That life is going to change. Just like Google and search changed information, e-commerce changed the way we shopped, AI and Gen AI is going to change the way we look for advice. The advice that super rich people can get today, or very big companies, that tailored advice they get from their private banker or their corporate banker, the ordinary consumer client or small business client will get. There'll be a private banker in your app. They'll be giving us advice. Now, of course, it has to be regulated and it'll be a question as to who will be the app. But that change is coming. We will all have some kind of semi-autonomous agent working for us. Just like we have, we say, hey Siri on our phones, or Alexa. We talk to these apps. We'll be doing the same we'll say, hey Siri, or whatever, when's my mortgage coming due? What are the best rates out there? What do you think I should do? Siri will give you the answers.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that part in order to manage these finances. Now, I wonder, because in your book you mentioned also now the importance of Web3, and I feel like somewhat is a concept, abstract concept for many. Yes. So I feel like also we do have to mention that Web 2.5 is alive and well. So do you really need Web 3 finance-wise? I mean, what does it bring to the table?
So in a way, Web3 is a label or a marketing label. What Web3 talks about or is talking about is how do we use blockchain technology, and then how do we use different business models of ownership in finance. Blockchain technology is already being used and is being used behind the scenes. It doesn't mainstream replace finance. It's like having a parallel road, like we have the road and then we have a tram or a train network. That's how blockchain is being built. But in countries, not like Poland or England where I grew up, but in countries where you don't trust institutions, you don't trust the government, say, or the property records, there, blockchain has a use case where people are like, okay, if I have my information on a blockchain, no one can delete it or change it. And the value of blockchain, the real life value, I don't have to discuss if I'm in a country or talking to people from a country where they don't trust their institutions. It's different in Europe. We tend to trust our institutions.
Well, jokingly, I could say that, well, we need a parallel universe for that. And I feel like metaverse might be doing that. But what is the case with metaverse, really? Does finance really need metaverse?
So metaverse is a really complicated term, and a lot of people think about the metaverse as virtual reality. You know, when you have those big goggles on your head, that's not the metaverse. That's one part of the metaverse, virtual reality. Maybe 50 million people, we said in a report a couple of years ago, will use the metaverse. We believe billions of people will use the metaverse if you define it as AR, augmented reality, and AI-powered augmented reality. That's going to be huge. I was walking here from our office wearing my Meta glasses. Now, it's very basic metaverse, but those glasses can already recognize images. I can stream sound. I can take pictures. Metaverse is going to be a mixed reality world, an augmented reality-powered mixed reality world. That's what the metaverse is going to look. Not like we're closed off in a VR headset. That's going to be niche. In that world, how do payments work? I look at an object, a product, so I like that. Let me buy it.
Right.
I'm either virtual online or physically. How does that payment work? Could be a token, could be the existing payment system in the country, could be a credit card.
Now, I wonder, I don't want to play devil's advocate here for just a one question here. But so what about the risk connected to now the virtual future of finance? Do you see any, and how do we mitigate them?
There's lots of risks. In fact, we're at the start of this conversation in this information age, the age of intangibles. That's what we trade, that's what we consume. And how do we know something is real? You and I are sitting very close to each other, but if I was doing this conversation from my office in Dubai or London, how do you know that I'm not a virtual reality creation? There's going to be huge questions around deepfakes, trust. I think there's going to be a barbell effect where there's going to be a huge explosion of digital data and information in the next 2, 3, 4 years in finance and elsewhere. And then there's going to be a huge want or desire for personal. So in finance, like in everything, the really big things, the first mortgage, the discussion about pension and savings, lifetime financial planning, you'll want to see a person, the big corporate transaction. It'll be the same in our daily lives. I think we'll all want to go and meet people and hang out in restaurants and bars and cafes because our lives are going to be so digital that we're going to place more value. A bit like after COVID, we all went traveling, right? Revenge travel, people are traveling. We're going to have revenge person-to-person human interaction. Finance will have that, but finance also has to be ready for the digital world at the same time.
And what about security? Because it's also a major concern, I feel like, in the digital financial landscape. Yep. So how do you see now AI playing a role in enhancing security of the online banking and also transactions in the future?
So AI will both challenge security and reinforce it. As I said, if I was doing this via Zoom link, how do you know I'm me? I could be a virtual avatar. Today, there have already been fraudulent transactions done where someone is pretending to be someone's colleague, your boss, saying, send the money. You're looking at the screen going, okay, that's my boss. Looks like my boss, sounds like my boss, but it's not. How do you know when you get a phone call? It's your kid in distress. He sounds like your kid, says, I need money because I've lost my wallet, I've lost my phone. Send me the money to my friend. How do you know that's real? So AI will both create negatives as well as the tools to fight these negatives.
And I still feel like many innovations in finance can be realized while the tech, with the tech really, that we have today. And a prime example, I feel like, is also Polish payment system Bleak. Do you know Bleak?
I've heard all about Bleak in the 24 hours I've been in Poland. I haven't been to Poland for decades. I've just come back after 45 years, and I've been learning all about Bleak in the last 24 hours. And
how do you feel like it might pan out? Do you feel like now it might be like, let's say, the nearest future of finance here?
Absolutely. Bleak is part of a broader global trend of real-time payments. 10, 15 years ago, payments weren't real-time in most countries. Today, there are 70 plus countries across EMEA, Europe, Middle East, Africa, Asia in particular, where there's real-time payments. Bleak is part of that.
Right, and if I might remind our viewers then now, it allows, of course, our viewers to make instant transactions both online and in person by generating a unique 6-digit code through banking apps. Now, I wonder, lastly, looking ahead, what do you think will be the biggest challenge of financial institutions?
It's keeping up with change. Change used to happen first in big companies, in banks, in government. When computers first came into the US, the UK, France, it came in government and big companies and big banks. The last 20 years, change often happens in the palm of our hands. It happens at home, it happens on the street. Innovation is happening everywhere. It's happening in Poland, it's happening in Kazakhstan, it's happening in India, it's happening in Saudi Arabia. There's no monopoly of change or innovation. It doesn't happen in big companies in one country or two countries. Keeping up with that change is super hard.
So keeping up with the change, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And that was Ronit Ghose, Managing Director and the Global Head of Future of Finance at Citi Research. And that was his bottom line for today. And remember that in the world of business, the bottom line is the only line that counts. Alexandra Marchewicz was your host. Goodbye.